Hi friends, today we will go through machine learning introduction. So we will try to understand what exactly the machine learning is and what are the common example of the machine learning which will help us to understand. And in the last we will try to understand what are the broad category of the machine learning. Okay, so let's start. So what is a machine learning? So there are lots of definitions today available for the machine learning. The you will search for the machine learning, you will find there are n number of different definition. Here we will try to put the definition as a very simple because we are considering uh, mm, the who all are actually trying to understand the machine learning. They are very new to the domain and new to this concept, so we will not try to put a complex definition of the machine learning, but we'll try to put some kind of the layman definition. Then once we understand the machine learning in little bit deeper, then we will go for the the what are the industry definition is available for the machine learning. So machine learning is basically a method of the data analysis that automates statistical model building. So the base of the machine learning is basically a statistical modeling techniques. So as we all know, the statistical modeling is a very old concept, uh, and the machine learning is basically under the hood is using the statistical modeling techniques, but it is automating that statistical modeling techniques to solve some of the interesting real life problems. Okay, so now to understand or maybe the recap the what exactly we learn in our school days, what the statistical modeling equation. So the typical example of the statistical modeling equation is y is equal to mx plus c, right? So this is what the diagram is showing is we have the x-axis, we have the y-axis, and the red line is basically a equation of y is equal to mx plus c. So if someone wants to know that my x-axis value is a, then what will be my y-axis value? So to derive that, the y is equal to mx plus c will help. So this is what uh, uh, the formula is for the statistical simple statistical uh, linear line algorithm y is equal to mx plus c. Okay, so what exactly machine learning is do? Machine learning will try to automate uh, this y is equal to mx plus c formula for the our given data set. We will see in the subsequent slides. So to understand this machine learning concept, let's try to understand some of the example which will give some kind of more insight about the machine learning. So there are we will here just try to understand the two different kind of machine learning problems. One is the prediction of some kind of output based on the past data trend. So we have some past data is available for the some of the data set, and we want to uh, do some prediction based on the past data. So for example, we have the company performance data is available for last 10 years for one company, where we have the all the details of the company, like what how many employees company has, companies in which domain, company what are the raw material cost for the company for that particular year, and how company was performing it, what is the demand of that sector in that particular year, and the end of the uh, data set, we know that with this all these baseline things, company has performed this or company has earned this many dollars. Okay, so uh, so that data set is available with us. So So what exactly machine learning will do in this scenario? Machine learning will try to understand all the data set, and it will see that how those data set or how those inputs are actually deriving the company performance or company profit. So it will uh, build the mathematical equation for your data set, which will be used to predict the subsequent or the some new prediction. Like you want to know that what, okay, what will be the performance of the next year, and if you somehow pass the value of the all the inputs that you have available with you based on some of the uh, assumption, with underlying some of the assumption, you can have some kind of prediction of your company performance for the future year. The similar way, the how the government is basically identifying the GDP. So I think most of us are aware what exactly the GDP is. So how the GDP is basically derived. So it is based on the past data and some certain assumptions that they will made for the new year, and they will put all together all those numbers, and they will put into that equation, and that equation will give some kind of estimation. Okay, the another example is uh, like you have some data set of the house rent. Like we have the one data set where we have the detail of the house, like how old house is, how many bedroom that house has, and whether it has any attached bathrooms, or all those information, in which area that house belongs to, is it on the which floor, all those information we have, and we know the rent also upfront of that house. So when we pass such data to the algorithm or machine learning will try to understand the inputs, and it try to see how those attributes are actually deriving the rent based on the past data. Like based on the past data, or what are the data we are passing. If data indicates that, okay, if a house is in the this particular area and having the three bedroom, and is house is old, then maybe the data, I mean, maybe the rent will be this much. So it will try to build an equation based on the data that we are feeding to it. And later on, when we uh, want to know that, okay, if I want to rent out one home in this area, and my requirement is a three bedroom, and I want the house should be less than 10 years, then what is the amount of rent I will end up with? So uh, based on my requirement, that the existing formula, mathematical formula derived based on the past data, will I try to identify the rent which I will go might be going to be end up with that rent. Okay. The another example is like you have some uh, email, right? So we all are using the email, like whether it's the Google email or some corporate email. When any email is coming, the how the email provider or the email server is identifying that it is the incoming email is a spam or not. So the based on the past emails whatever came, and which is categorized as a spam, maybe the upfront or the later on the user reported. So that data is available with us, that this basically emails are, the email has this attribute, like this the subject, email is coming from this particular domain, email has this particular body, or this kind of the hyperlinks in that, and those are basically my spam email. So I have the attributes of emails, and I know that with these attributes whether email is spam or not. That is uh, available with us as part of the data set. When we pass that data set to the algorithm or the machine learning will try to understand that whether which all attributes are actually driving whether email is the spam or not, whether the single attribute or the the five attributes are actually together playing the whether email is spam or not. So based on all that, it will derive one mathematical formula, and that mathematical formula will help us for the new email to derive or get the probability of that new email is spam or not. Okay, so this is basically the examples of the prediction where we have the some output we are looking for based on the past data. The second category of the example that I would just want to explain you is to identifying some kind of pattern and the relationship from the available data set. So we have some data set available with us, but we don't know what exactly that data set has. I mean, we don't have the much idea or much insight of data set. So the output is not known for that data set. So the learning algorithm basically try to analyze that data and see that what exactly those attributes are, what is the relationship between those attributes, and what are the patterns are available in that data set. So like for example, you are passing some customer data uh, which has some 50 attributes, and you pass to the machine learning. So machine learning will try to analyze the data, and maybe it will come with the 5 to 6 segments that okay, these are the 6 different segments I can see in that your data. So that segments is like okay, I can see customer uh, earning X uh, number of uh, dollar per month and spending Y, and customer age is these are the set of customers belongs to the one group. Then I have the another set of customers. So likewise, I can get the different categories of the customer. So basically, I will uh, get some insight of my data, because when I started, I have no idea what about the data, but machine learning will give me that okay, your data has this kind of clusters exist in your data. So maybe I can try to understand more about that functional clusters, and I can reuse for my some business purpose. The another example is that coronavirus, which is currently the entire world is behind that coronavirus to understand how we can solve the problem. So that is basically we can say it's an unknown data set for us. We don't have the much detail about that. There are lots of hidden facts are there in that coronavirus problem. So if for example we have the coronavirus patient details, like we have the 100K patient details, who all are actually had a infection of the coronavirus. So if we pass that information to the algorithm, it will try to identify some kind of pattern. So it will see help us to give okay, based on this data we are seeing that these are the different patterns are available in your data set. We are seeing that if customer the patient more than 40, age is 40 years, and having some kind of pre-existing disease, and is belongs to this particular country, and it taking the end of the day, it's taking the 20 days to recover. Okay, so likewise it will give some kind of rules or some kind of hidden information about the data, which will try to understand what exactly the data set is all about. Okay, so now we understood so far what is the machine learning, what are the different example of machine learning. Machine learning is basically uh, as automation for the statistical modeling. Okay, so now we will try to understand the type of the machine learning. In the broad category, there are two types of the machine learning. One is the supervised machine learning, and another is the unsupervised machine learning. So we will first try to understand the supervised machine learning. The supervised machine learning is the category when the input and the output is clear. Means we know that what is the input of the data, and what actually the output of the data set. Like for example, we have the data set of employees from the various organization. Like we have the gender, we know the age, what is the qualification of the employee, which company employee is working, in which area employee is working, what is the experience employee has, what is the skill set, which university is actually passed out, what is the current designation, and what is the salary the employee is currently earning. So now assume that salary is the what basically we are looking for as an output, and the rest of the attributes we are considering the input. So we have the data which is giving that with this information of the gender, age, qualification, experience, skill set, university, what is the salary currently employee is getting. So when we pass this data to the uh, machine learning algorithm, machine learning is trying to understand that pattern and build the mathematical formula for deriving the salary. So when we want to know the salary of some new employee or the unknown person, then if you are able to pass the information that we passed as input in the previous data set, the gender, age, qualification, area, experience, and all those except the salary, the machine learning basically feed that data through the statistical uh, uh, formula which is derived using the past data, and it will give the prediction of the salary. Okay, so this is basically an example of the supervised machine learning. The second is the unsupervised machine learning. So the difference between the major difference in the supervised and unsupervised is that in case of the unsupervised, the goal is to identify the pattern and the relationship between the attributes of available data set. So the input and output is not known. In the previous case, we know that okay, these are the inputs of my employee data, and the output is my salary. So with this inputs, I am employee is basically having this much salary, so my input and output is very clear. In this problem statements, the input and output is not there. The goal of the uh, unsupervised learning is to understand the relationship between the attributes and getting some more insight and the pattern about the data set. Okay, so the again the example, if you take example of the coronavirus, right? So if we pass that information about all the gender, age, country, area, what is the level of infection, how many days the patient took to cure, what are the symptoms actually we are seeing, all those information we have for all the 100K patients. And if we pass the data to the machine learning is trying to identify the pattern, and it will give some meaningful insight of the data which will help us to take some more which understanding about our data set. It will maybe solve some of our business problems, or it will also help to take some future decisions. Okay, so this is what about the unsupervised machine learning. So yeah, so we have covered the what is the machine learning definition, what is the basic of the machine learning, and what are the broad category of the machine learning. There is a supervised machine learning and the unsupervised machine learning. So yeah, so this is the end of the video. So thank you for listening this video. Please provide your comments, your feedback, and if you want to learn something new in the machine learning or some of the other area of the machine learning, please provide your comments, so it will give some idea about the content and the future video to prepare. Thank you.